Hey guys, this is Ed, Paul, and Anna of Kurdin Media, and we are here to tell you a little bit more about our sponsor.
Sportsball is a great subscription service geared towards minor league baseball fans. Each box features a different minor league team.
You get a box every 3 months with minor league baseball gear, including different styles of hats like Ed's favorite, the dad hat. The cost is less than $12 a month.
Proceeds from each box goes to More Than Baseball, the only nonprofit dedicated to the well-being of minor league baseball players.
We all know that Parents' Days are coming up this summer, so if you've got a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa who are particularly difficult to buy for, but you know they're baseball fans, this is the answer, guys.
Meet your new favorite team at sportsballbox.com.
Is there anybody there?
A call for an interview in the middle of class, and I left the class to take the interview.
That's awesome.
And she's like, "Do you have some time now?" I was like, "Yep." So I snuck out and actually took the interview mid-class, and then snuck back. And my teacher was like, "Where'd you go?" I was like, and it was a sports class. And I was like, "Oh, I just got interviewed for an internship in West Virginia." They're like, "Oh, that's cool. Never mind."
What's up, Dad Hat Crew? Ed here. And on this episode, I give you guys Zach Kurdin. Who is Zach? He is the Director of Ticket Operations and Digital Marketing for the Charleston Dirty Birds. That's right, the one and only, guys. If you guys see any other funny stuff on social media, that's him. That's pretty, yep, no, seriously, that's him. We talked about his time where he interviewed during class for a job. That's right, he did that. He also had a job for about 6 months or so in the Italian Football League. That's right, guys, American football in Italy. We talked about that, and then obviously, you know, we talked about how he is doing with the Dirty Birds and some of the things that they are working throughout the season, and some of the events they're putting together. So, guys, without further ado, I'll give you the episode. All right. Well, I want to welcome you guys to yet another episode of the Data Chronicles. My name is Ed, and with me today, I have one of the coolest dudes out here on social media. He handles one of the most fun social media accounts for the Charleston Dirty Birds, Zach Kurdin. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great. How you doing today?
I am well. You know, it's a beautiful day. So tell me, man, let's start with you, man. Take me back. How did you become a fan of this wonderful sport that we call baseball?
Well, I grew up about an hour outside of Cincinnati, so my history is with the Reds.
Okay.
Unfortunately, and I grew up watching pretty much every single game, and you know, it was just a fun sport to watch. It was like always on. It's always on every day for like 160 straight days, basically. So it was kind of hard not to watch it and love it. You know, a lot of fun, almost playoff runs, which really got me excited about the sport as a whole. You know, 3 straight years where we lost in the first round of the playoffs. But I also grew up in Dayton, Ohio, which is the hour outside, and so grew up going to Dragons games as well.
Yeah.
That's really where it actually started. Was like that's the more fun, you know, engaging side. So we went to a bunch of games for the first like 6-7 years the Dragons were around, and really just, you know, fell in love with the game.
I love it. You know what? I grew up in Puerto Rico, and then when I moved here, it moved to Ohio, right? Grew up a Cleveland fan, and that's how it went, man. It's just once you become a fan of a team, it's just for better or for worse, which a lot for me, you know, except for 2016, and you know that it was a lot of bad, you know. So I get it. So tell me, you know, like you decided that, you know, this was going to be your career path. How did you, you know, like decide one day, it's like, you know what? I like baseball. I'm going to work in baseball. And then this is what I'm going to do.
So originally it was just sports as a whole.
Mhm.
I took a sports management class in high school. And because my mom made me do it, she's like, "I think you'll like this." I was like, "Nah, it doesn't sound like that much fun." And the teacher pulled me aside after about 6 weeks, and he said, "Just a heads up, Zach, I noticed you have a full notebook. Everyone else has 1 page of notes. You seem to be very interested in what's going on here. Maybe you should consider pursuing this." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe I will." And then I went to school for sports management, did a bunch of internships. I actually didn't get into baseball until after college because I worked for an NFL team for a little bit. Then I worked for a team out in Italy, also football. And then I tried my hand at tennis. And then I realized baseball sounded like the best move because I kind of wanted to just get a lot of in-game experience. And in my head, minor league baseball, 70 games a year, I'm going to get way more experience than football or any other sport. So I'm going to go for baseball, get a lot of in-game experience. And then now I just can't see myself not working in baseball.
So let's turn it back. Hold on a second. You work for an NFL team. Was it the Reds? I mean, the Bengals, I mean?
No, I actually worked for the Eagles. It was my first internship when I was 19. I went to school in Philly.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense.
We had a program where with like an internship program, and I kind of just fired away at the Eagles, not expecting to hear anything. Ended up getting the job and loved it there. I wish I would have taken it more seriously as a 19-year-old. Like I wasn't that, much of a hard worker at 19. I feel like I could have gotten a lot more out of it, 2-3 years later in my college career, but
right.
Still wouldn't be where I was without that one. So I love it.
It's funny you say that because like I worked for the Cleveland Indians back in the day. It was short, and I'm like you. I wish I was young, but I wish I would have taken it a lot more serious. I probably would have been a lot further up in the chain than because I ended up quitting because I thought I was like, oh, I'm gonna go work for a clothing company. It's a lot more fun and make more money. And man, what an idiot I am. So so wait a second. Also, I wanna get back to also something that you said. You work for a football team in Italy.
Yep, the IFL, the Italian Football League. It's American football over there. A lot of Italian guys and a couple Americans. It's not. I'm not going to insult the quality of football.
No, it's okay. We get it.
Most of the guys grew up there not using their arms in sports. It was mostly a leg-based sport. Yeah. So, but they found a group of kids that played flag football, and they turned them into a professional team. And then I think our team had the only Italian actual quarterback, and he was actually better than a lot of the American guys they were bringing in. But it was a really cool experience. I got to live over there for 6 months and do some marketing and sponsorship stuff for a Italian football team. And really that was really just I get to live in Italy for 6 months and then also work in sports. It was just a great combo. Yeah,
it's a great combination. Are you kidding me? Sports, you obviously, American football, and then you get to live in a beautiful country like Italy. That's amazing.
And it was mostly remote too. So if we didn't have games, I could kind of just travel if I wanted to. And it's like, as long as I was, working on my laptop 9 to 5, they didn't really care what I was doing during the week. So every weekend, if we weren't in town, I just, hop on those $20 flights over in Europe and check out another area. So it was a really cool experience all around. I don't know where my savings went from my high school jobs, but
I wonder where it went. Right. That's amazing. I'm very jealous of that. That's actually pretty cool. You got to experience other cultures in another country and, and work for a football team, which is, pretty damn cool. Now, are they still around that league?
Yep. The IFL is still around. I don't know. I don't follow it as closely as I did, but it was the Parma Panthers. There's actually a book called Playing for Pizza about the team I work for. It's pretty cool. Nice. Highly recommend. Really quick read. It's just about it's kind of like what minor league players go through in America. A lot of the guys that don't really make the cut in after college or in the draft will go over there, play for a couple years, hoping to get noticed. So it's kind of similar experience. They put you up in housing, but instead they're doing it in Italy instead of random cities across America.
So you said it was called Playing for Pizza?
Yep.
All right. I got to take a look at it. That's awesome. I love it. Okay. So what did you do after that? As soon as you're like, okay, I'm done in Italy. What's my next step? What did you do?
So I got I was kind of experimenting with different departments, trying to figure out what specifically in sports I wanted to do. Sponsorship sales wasn't for me. Most of my first two were sales-ish related or service related. And the third one I tried out was work for a world team tennis team called the Philadelphia Freedoms. So, the tennis courts that have the colorful courts with, mixed doubles and all that. Gave my hand at that. And I was the box office intern there. And about 3 weeks before the season, the box office manager decided he didn't want to do it. So I became the box office manager, and that kind of set me up perfectly for, a post-college job as a box office intern for like a higher level sport than that. Not insulting that sport, but just, more than 6 games a year.
Yeah. Because I mean, it does for 6 games only. That's kind of hard, for you to, create some kind of movement into your career. Where like in minor league baseball, it's a little bit different, right? You like you said, 70 games, and you got a lot of work to do on those days.
Oh yeah, it's a way different experience, but it was still cool. I thought that was extreme high level ticketing stuff, and then really jumped once I got into baseball. I was like, okay, that was really easy. Like I was just new at it.
So what did you do after that? Like, that's when you decided to work in baseball? Did you try, working in minor league baseball at that point?
Yeah. So I finished school after that because I was basically, each one of those internships was followed with 6 months of school. Because the way Drexel University is set up is they take 3 years and it's 6 months of internship, 6 months of school, 6 months of internship, 6 months of school. Try saying that
Pretty
3
cool.
times. Yeah, it was really cool. And then I had about 3 or 4 months left after that, and I decided I was going to graduate early, and so I just finished up and started applying kind of everywhere but minor league baseball. Around the time I finished up in March, so around that time minor league baseball just seemed like the perfect place to slide in, because I was like, I just need to get my foot in the door in some sports organization. I don't want to like take any gap time and end up the longer I wait, the more I'm going to probably struggle to get back in.
Yeah, right.
And so I ended up finding a team called the West Virginia Power back in the day, 2017, and got a call for an interview in the middle of class, and I left the class to take the interview.
That's awesome.
And she's like, do you have some time now? I was like, yep. So I snuck out and actually took the interview mid-class, and then snuck back, and my teacher was like, where'd you go? I was like, and it was a sports class. And I was like, oh, I just got interviewed for an internship in West Virginia. They're like, oh, that's cool. Never mind.
That's great. I was like, oh, okay. How'd it go? Did you get it? Are you sure? How'd it go?
But yeah, so it went good. And then I got offered the job here to be a box office associate or assistant. I forget the exact term. And I started 2 days here after I finished school. So I packed up my apartment, loaded it up, moved here, and then really got no break. And then mid-season, I drove back for graduation and did an overnight trip, did walk, and then drove straight back here for our game the next day.
Oh my God. That's insane. Oh, okay. I mean, listen, good for you, man. I mean, that's some dedication to walking. And I highly recommend anybody that graduates from college is that you walk. A lot of people say, oh, look, I don't want to walk. I don't need that. I'm like, no, trust me, you will regret the day that you didn't do it. So I highly recommend you walk for sure.
Yeah, both my parents didn't do it, and I knew it was like just as important to them to see it as it was for me to do it. So I was like, I'm gonna take the time. I took one game off. I think that was the last game I took off since I started, and I just booked it over there, and then came back to the game the next day.
That's amazing. So, and you've been in Charleston ever since. You're like, you know what? This is where I'm gonna be. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. So originally, especially coming from Philly, I kind of had preconceived notions of Charleston and West Virginia as a whole. Mm-hmm. And in my head, 6 months, get in, get out, go find something somewhere else, just get experience. And I ended up loving it a lot more than I expected to love it. And about 4 months into my internship, they offered me the full-time role as box ops manager. Because at that time, that person was stepping up to do other things in the organization. And they're like, the gap's just opening up right for you if you want to take it. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I took that one, and then each year I kind of get a little bit more responsibility, and I end up just, making a home here. So I thought it was going to be a 6-month gig, but now I'm like 6 or 7 years in, and I'm loving every minute of it.
7 years in, you're like, well, I guess I'm staying. I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, I got a girlfriend here, got a house here that I'm renting, but still have a house here. Got pets here that love Charleston. So, got a life here now.
That's good. That's awesome, man. Listen, and as long as you're doing what you love, you're not working a day in your life, my friend.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So let me ask you. Let's go a little bit into your, well, not yours, but the team's deciding that we're gonna go ahead and switch gears. We're gonna do a new identity, new look, everything. Obviously that came along with the news that they were no longer going to be an affiliated ball club. How all of that just happened with you guys during that whole time?
So I know a couple months in, the talks started happening, and the West Virginia Power name is just not a great baseball name in my opinion.
Agreed.
Some people love it. We did a poll. 90% of people said we should change our name. So when the results are that prominent like that,
yeah.
you like maybe this isn't the name we need to go with. And so we kind of I think that was mostly Chuck just working on, brainstorming. And I think he popped up with Dirty Birds and he was ready to go with that. And once we all heard it, when we heard it, we all loved it. He kept that very close to his chest for a very long time. And then kind of let people know who needed to know as we got closer, because he didn't want to get him leaked out. And it did a couple different ways, but it happened. And I think honestly, it helped soften the blow a little bit, because I'm sure you've seen with almost every rebrand, there's a lot of pushback at first. A lot of people have, the name they want it to be, or in our case, a lot of people wanted the Charlie's name as the throwback name. And we'll always be the Charlies. I think we play as them every Thursday night as Throwback Thursdays to keep the spirit of the Charlies alive. And I think everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but the pushback was, I think, softened a little bit because everyone kind of heard the name beforehand. They're like, oh, they can get out their feelings before the actual official night.
Right. And that's good. You know what though? I'm a fan of it. At first I was like, okay, all right, let me see, right. I'm like, okay, let me give it a chance. Let me see it. Let me take it all in, sit back and see how it is. And you know what? I honestly, when I saw the logo too, that's what really sold me, right? Because, okay, you get a name and then you let people just, marinate on that. And then you release the logo and then you're like, got it.
Yeah, I was a big fan. I was a big fan when I first heard it, but I think I was just so ready for us not to be the power after I heard all the rebrand talks that I loved it. And I think it's really grown on people. There's still some people who, prefer the Charlie's name. And like I said, that's, you are entitled to that opinion. But I think from what I'm hearing in the crowd and, just seeing the crowd covered in Dirty Birds merchandise every game, it's definitely catching on here. And I think people are really starting to take hold. And even if people don't like it, the one thing I really do enjoy is it kind of signified a new era for us as a whole. Because the team wasn't doing that well in the past few years before COVID. We were doing all right. But since we changed our name, and especially this year, attendance has been just very solid. The overall vibe has been very solid. And I think that just the rebrand has helped just establish this is no longer that era of Charleston baseball, which I think was good for us.
And this is the same thing that I keep hearing from other teams is that, okay, we lost our affiliation, but you guys gained so much more freedom and you were able to establish a whole new identity that allowed you guys to be even more successful post affiliation.
Oh yeah. I was super nervous when I heard about the affiliation loss. And it didn't help that all that was going on during COVID as well. So not only were we dealing with, are we going to have a season, but are we ever going to have baseball again was also the question. And it was super nerve wracking. We in our office knew there's going to be baseball here of some sort. We're going to find something baseball wise to play here. If it's not affiliated ball, we're not going away. We didn't really know what it was going to be until Andy bought in and ended up, we joined the Atlantic League.
Yep.
But I think that's been the best case scenario, honestly, for us. People have really taken to the Atlantic League as a whole, but also there's a lot of pride in Charleston. And I think just the concept that the guys are choosing to come here, not getting dropped off here, is just so big. And that's one of the big selling points that I use for the Atlantic League is that it's not guys that are just getting dropped off here and maybe I don't like Charleston. It's guys that are like, I have, hypothetically 40 teams to choose from because there's 4 partner leagues and a bunch of other leagues. They're choosing to come to Charleston, live in Charleston, spend their summer here. So I think that's just so big. And I think that aspect specifically has really resonated with people here.
Yeah. And again, that's something that I keep hearing, right? Okay. All right, fine. We lost our affiliation. You know what is sink or swim, and we're going to choose to swim, and we're going to do something different. We're going to, rebrand and, look at the Appalachian League, right? How successful they are, right? The Pioneer League, they're like, you know what, we're going to survive as well. So, and then you have your team, the Legends, right? There's a lot of teams that decided that they're going to take, their future into their own hands and they're going to make the best of it. And you know what, I couldn't be happier and, to see that, that the fan base really grow and support you guys through all of that.
Yeah. Thank you. It's been really cool. like I said, I was really nervous. I wasn't sure how people were going to take it. But I mean, I think once we started rolling out the initial announcements too, it just like of who we were signing, like former guys is who we were leading off with signing last year. Everyone's like, oh, there's gonna be some real talent here. And honestly, jumping from, low A to, 6 former major leaguers on your team, there's just a real big jump in quality of baseball too. So the actual baseball fans, not just the fun, night out fans, are also having something to enjoy here because they're getting a higher quality of baseball. So I think that is a double win for us.
No, I agree. I think that's awesome. Let's touch a little bit on something that I think it's very important, when I interact with a lot of other teams, is the fact that you guys took it upon yourselves to really be very interactive on social media, right? I mean, I think that is something that is extremely huge, right? Like, you guys are very interactive, and I'm sure that was done by design.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all me. I do the Twitter and Facebook. We actually also run the Instagram. I'm not even going to pretend to know anything about Instagram. I have my 2 areas that I like. So, and she's wonderful. She's killing it on Instagram, and we kind of tag team TikTok as well. We're just now starting to get our feet wet in TikTok now that we've kind of hit a gliding point. But yeah, I think being interactive is just super important. And it's one of the things I wasn't doing when I first took over social media. Found that like it just comes across as so corporate when you're not interactive with people. Like I really like it to feel like you're talking to someone, like, and or the organization. And that's one of the things I think that I really try to take pride in, is like I'll respond to almost everything I see or interact with everyone. And I think that, drives engagement as well. People want to tweet at us because we'll talk back. And I do like talking to everyone that tweets at us. Like, honestly, I have a lot of fun with all of my Twitter friends through the Dirty Birds.
Yeah.
And there's a whole fan section, the Birdcage, who I want to give a shout out to. They're kind of relatively new to our ballpark, and they're super big on Twitter and super fun at the ballpark. And they said a lot of that came from, partially just having a great time here, but they said like we engage with them, and I went and hung out with them for a whole game one. They're just awesome group of people. And I think that the engagement thing is just such a big factor.
Interesting. So they call themselves the Birdcage?
Yeah, so we actually have 3 super fan sections in our ballpark, which is wild to me that we have 3 different sections. So we've got the Rowdies, who sit on the third base side. They kind of take care of harassing the visiting dugout.
I hear somebody sits there as well.
What?
Is that where the Toast Man sits?
So the Toast section is the second section. That's
behind. Okay.
He's got an outlet in his seat. He sits in like right behind home plate, just right off the side. He got a seat where he says that he can burn toast to where the smoke pours into the visiting team's dugout and just bother. And then the Birdcage on the first base side. So we kind of got all 3 sides of the ballpark covered as far as super fan sections, which is just super fun because no matter where you're sitting, there's some very passionate fans hanging out.
That's amazing. So you got the Rowdies where it's like right behind the visitors. Then you got the Toast Man right by home plate. And then you got the Birdcage where it's like where the supporters of the home team.
Yeah. It's like it's a full ballpark experience, and the Toast Man is just a whole experience in and of itself. He is just the most unique person, I think, on all of baseball fandom. He spends hours upon hours researching the other team and dives into some pretty crazy heckling throughout the game. And I've seen him rattle some pitchers. It's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think I heard, I think he was on the Indie Ball podcast, and I heard his interview with him, and, he is like, well, obviously he does it, in a respectful manner, but he's making sure that, obviously he's going to heckle you, and, a super nice guy from what I see. But he really does, go deep and, little league games and high school games and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah, I heard him call out some guy for blowing the high school state championship, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's like 34." Like that took so much research to find this information on this guy, but because he also works with us upstairs. He's a 9 to 5 employee, and then 5 o'clock rolls around, he's off the clock so he can do his other thing and enjoy the game. And the research he does is awesome. And then also like people either want to sit right next to him or as far away as possible. partially because you are getting toast thrown at you all game. Because every time he strikes someone out, he tosses toast into the crowd, and it's really a whole experience.
That's awesome. He's just throwing the toast at people. That's great.
Yeah, they every strikeout, the whole crowd chants, "You are toast, you are toast, you are toast," and then he just starts throwing toast at the whole crowd. Probably goes through a whole loaf, maybe 2 on a really good pitching day.
That's awesome. Good for him and good for you guys, right? Again, you guys have to figure out different ways to interact with fans, social media, and the ballpark in order to grow your brand, which is obviously is growing.
Oh yeah, and he's been doing that for, I think this is 26 years now. I don't know how he's been doing that for 26 years, but he has been going since the old ballpark, and just he was actually the assistant to the mayor when this ballpark was built, and I think that's how the outlet got put at his seat.
That's amazing. Oh, that is great. I love that. That could not be happy for that at all. That's amazing. So tell me something some of the crazy things that you guys do at the ballpark, right? That helps you guys set yourself apart from other teams.
Yeah, so we just rolled out a new promotion that we don't think anyone else has done. That's been absolutely, everyone's loving it. It's called the helium inning. And so our PA announcer just starts inhaling helium to announce all the home batters for a whole half inning.
That's great.
Yeah, so it just sounds like this the whole half inning. And he just, when we told him about it, he thought he had to do it for a whole game, and he freaked out. And we're just like, no, just one half inning. Could be 3 batters, could be 10. But it's the whole crowd's cracking up the whole time that's going on. So that's one of my newest favorite promotions. But also we have our promotions managers just always researching. I mean, obviously watching the big teams, seeing what they do. Like, I think every team in minor league baseball would be lying if they said they didn't watch the Savannah Bananas and draw some inspiration there.
Right. Listen, I don't care. Baseball is one of those sports that you gotta, just take from other players and take from, other teams in order to, and make it yourself, make it your own, right? You don't want to do the same thing, but it is what it is.
Oh yeah. And I mean, that's some of the best promotions come from other teams. I mean, when I first started, one of my big tasks was to watch every episode of Minute to Win It in my head and just see if I could find anything fun. But it's kind of evolved from that to, just seeing what we can come up with creatively here. And kind of like, there's a lot of sponsorship activations. So seeing if we can come up with something fun that still ties in sponsorship, but also like doesn't make it so sponsory. Because I think that's big downside. I think that's one of the things that kind of kills a crowd at the end of the day is just, commercial after commercial after commercial, instead of just like fun, engaging thing. Because that's what I think one of our issues was, is we got a new video board 5-6 years ago, and everyone wanted to run a commercial because it's, the brand new shiny video board. But I think the downside is when you start running, 5-6 commercials in a game, everyone stops looking at the video board.
Yep.
Lose the crowd as a whole. But, our MC does a great job of keeping the crowd engaged the whole time. Even if it's to introduce the video board game, she's out on the field, like introducing it. She wants everyone to be she wants to be very engaging as well. I think that's just, been the trend of this whole year, is just be engaging with everything we do.
And like I said, from everything I've seen, you guys are killing the game out there. So that's amazing, man. I'm happy for you guys, obviously. And I'm happy that you guys were one of the teams where, and obviously, what I collect, as dad hats. And then, when I said, hey, when are you guys going to get your dad hats? You guys were very forward, say, hey, we got you. They're coming. And let me tell you, I ran upstairs. I told my wife, I was like, through the roof, screaming like a little girl, because I was like, this is amazing. Somebody's actually listening, that they're creating these dad hats. And I was super, super, super happy about that.
And we hope you like them. I'm actually wearing one of them right now, inspired by this interview itself. I had to throw one on.
Yes, sir.
On dad hat just for this.
Yes. I love that color, by the way. That is one of the, that color that it pops with the bird on it, man. The yellow is kind of like a yellow orange one, which I love. I love that one. Then you got the headlamp one with like which is smart, right? Because it's meant to look like a helmet, and then I mean, like I said, the whole rebranding has been a huge success in my opinion. Among Twitter followers that I've spoken to.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of all the logos, and I like how like it deconstructs itself as it goes. So like you got the full logo, then you got the bird, and then you got his head, and then you got the headlamp. So it kind of just like shrinks in itself, and it's so interesting because what logo I thought was going to be my favorite didn't end up being my favorite. I thought for sure the subtle headlamp with the C in it was going to be my favorite. I was like, that's going to be my go-to. And then I've kind of switched to the bird head recently, as you can tell by me literally wearing both bird.
On your polo and your hat. Absolutely. Yeah, that was actually, I got to say that's my favorite because I have that one, the head, the black one with the bird head on it. That's been, I love that one. So, but I got to get this one because I love that color, my friend. That is cool. So before I go into my famous, not so famous questions, I got to ask you, man, I'm going to try to make it up there. I don't know if I'm going to be, this year or next year, but I'm definitely going to try it up there. I want to throw out a first pitch, man.
I got you.
Yes, let's do it. All right, cool.
I will care. If you make it up here, I'll make it happen.
Yes, let's do this. I love it. I love it. All right, my friend, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you the easy one that you should already know by now. Going to the ballpark as a fan, what's your drink and food of choice?
Peanuts as food. I turn that into a dinner at any ballpark.
Anytime.
And I'm got to go with seltzers on this one. Big seltzer guy. I just never liked beer. I try and try and try. But any ballpark that's got a seltzer, which is pretty much anywhere you go now, it's seltzer and peanuts. It's a really weird, not so classic, well, half classic, half not so classic meal.
I was just going to say, peanuts is a classic. I love eating peanuts at the ballpark, right? It's like that activity. You're just eating the peanuts, but it has to be the full peanuts, right? Because you got to break the shell and everything.
Oh, it's an experience. Yeah, it's not just like you can't just take that. You got to take the shells, as much as I have cleaned up the stadium before you throw them on the ground.
I've been guilty of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. We got leaf blowers for that. So
there it is. I love it. You guys got smart. It's like, I'm not sweeping anymore. Leaf blowers it is. I like it.
Wait.
Yes. But see, here's the thing too. Also, I'm not a fan of dark beers like IPAs or anything like heavy like that. I am not a fan at all. Like whatever, like give me a summer shandy or something light and you got me, but I'm with you. It's like, it's either probably like a Pepsi or something along those lines that I'm going to be drinking at the ballpark. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, Pepsi also, but I'll be at a Legends or Genomes game in about a week and a half, and I will probably be eating literally just peanuts and seltzers. I mean, actually, they have frozen moonshine drinks there, so I might be drinking that. But
whoa, that sounds delicious. Yeah. That sounds delicious. And seltzers are everywhere now. Like there's different flavors. Yeah. So, and you're the first person to actually say that. So congratulations. That's all you, my friend. Okay, here we go. If you were to have any superpower, what superpower would it be?
Got to be able to fly. I just, get tired of traffic. I get tired of, just getting around places. I think flying would just be so convenient.
For real. That's seriously like, I'm over this. All right. Let's see here. Okay. What was your first video game?
First video game was got to be Pokemon Yellow.
Wow. Okay. I haven't played. Oh my God. I only played it once, but like it's been so long since I've actually played a Pokemon game. A long time.
Yeah, I loved Pokemon for so long, and then suddenly once the Game Boy died, kind of fell off.
That was it.
That was part of the experience was the Game Boy. I just tried looking at it on other systems. I was like, just doesn't look as interesting. Once I left, the DS didn't look that interesting. I was like, it's got to be the old school Game Boy.
For real though, like I mean, I used to have the original one, and then I had the Game Boy Color. I'm with you there. People nowadays don't understand the Game Boy was it, man. That was before the cell phones. That was it.
Had a little light on top that you could see the screen, which I'm not sure actually really helped that much, but
yeah, for real. Like you just click it on, they're like, no, it's not helping, dude, at all. Forget it. And if you try to play the original one at night, oh, forget it. There was no way.
Nothing.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. I'm gonna bring one an old school one because I haven't asked this one in a while. But pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
100% yay.
Really?
Yeah, I was the biggest hater on it for so long, and then I tried it.
You hated it before you even tried it. You're like, nope, forget it. And now you're like, I love this.
I took such a hard stance that I felt like I couldn't try it. And then I realized I secretly tried it one day, even though I was very publicly against it. And it turns out I loved it. So I had to subtly shift into letting people know that I was okay with it. Very divisive issue. So you don't want to change sides so quickly,
I like it. My friend Anna of the baseball bucket list, she said that her wife tries pineapple and jalapenos on it. So I gotta try that. I haven't done it yet, but that sounds like something I would definitely try for sure.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna be trying that soon.
Yep. So there you go. A little sweet, a little spicy. So boom, there it is. Okay. So what do you want to be when you grow up?
I still don't know.
Me either.
I've had like 4 different career paths in my head, even from this job. Part of me wants to go to like big leagues. Part of me really enjoys the minor leagues. Part of me thinks maybe one day I'll try another sport when I get tired of working 70 games.
Mhm.
Because I hear you burn out eventually. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but a lot of people tell me it happens. Or just like work my way up to the top of a minor league organization. It kind of changes based on the day. I know it's somewhere in sports. I can't see myself doing anything different. I just love the atmosphere, the environment, and the experience. So I don't know specifically what, because I haven't really thought that far. They just keep giving me more responsibilities here and better jobs. So
you're not going anywhere, my friend.
Yeah, being my next career plan is whatever the next job they offer me here is.
I think that's a good plan. I like it. You keep doing a good job, so they keep you around.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see here. What celebrity would you like to switch places with?
That's tough. Probably any player on like a major league team, any of the non-scandalous players on an MLB team for a day, just because I love to experience what it's like to play. I keep asking our manager, Billy Horn, for a shot, but he still has not given me the one at bat. I'm hoping if we get a game that doesn't count for anything, I'll just show up in a uniform and see what he does.
I'm taking the shot, buddy. Listen, it is what it is at this point. What are you going to do about it?
All I can promise you. I'm not looking. That's all I can tell you.
You know what? I've always, I wish I would have played at least one season or half a season in minor league baseball, right? The lowest level, because I suck. I think that would have been cool. Just take a swing, right? I'm like you. I would so strike out, just like I'd never see the ball.
Well, I've never played baseball. They cut my program at my school when I was in 4th grade. So I never actually got to play baseball. So I think I haven't told him that stat yet, which might hurt my chances a little bit. But I did rake during the employee softball game. So
there it is. Boom.
But, I think that translates.
We'll just start either a professional softball team for, all the guys like us, or, slow pitch, or even a professional wiffle ball league. There it is.
I've been watching a ton of the wiffle ball and those things on TikTok. Those are so fun to watch,
dude, aren't they? Like it's really underrated, how like a lot of fun that is. They scrape the ball and then they try these crazy curveballs and knuckleballs and all this stuff. Is insane how they play, man. One more question. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's see. So what song would you play if you were at a party?
Gotta be anything by Miley Cyrus, probably Wrecking Ball, just to Julie.
That's also a Wrecking Ball. Just go ahead. Let's go.
Everyone would be into it, but it completely changes the vibe no matter what.
Oh, that is amazing. Wrecking ball. I can just see somebody, if there was an actual wrecking ball, just like, grabbing it and just swinging it around the place. That's amazing.
Got to be a new promotion. Just came like a wrecking ball. How you bring in your new pitch?
There it is. I love it. Zach, thank you so much for doing this, man. This is a lot of fun. Where can people find you on social media?
Me personally, my handles are ZKURDZ on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not that active on Twitter because I spend about 90% of my time on the Dirty Birds Twitter. So follow Birds, Dirty Birds CWV. That's really where you're going to see me most of the time. I just pop over to mine, just tweet pictures of my dog.
Nothing wrong with that. I got a Chihuahua, man. I get it.
Yeah, he pretty much runs my life. So, he pretty much is the star of my Twitter.
Love it, man. Zach, thank you so much again. I'll make sure to put the Dirty Birds Instagram and all the social medias on it, yours as well, so that way they can follow you and the team, because you guys are awesome. And keep up the good work, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yeah.
Now, I hope you guys enjoy that episode with Zach. Now, make sure you guys are following him. I did put his Twitter there, as well as the Charleston Dirty Birds and their TikTok. I still don't know what TikTok is. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, I am so dumb when it comes to those things. Anyways, I digress. Make sure you guys are following them. Also, make sure you guys are following the podcast. Give it 5 stars. 5 stars means I go up on the rankings. More people get to listen to it too. Okay? All right. And last but not least, here's my question for you guys. A duck walks into a drugstore and buys a chapstick. The clerk says, "Will that be cash or charge?" And the duck says, "Just put it on my bill." All right. I'll see myself out. I'll see you guys later. And as always, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Dad Hat Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean. And I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
This is Patrick
and Corey
of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball, so get on the site and find a team near you today.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.